the animals and to the rest of the ecosystem. Now, it's very important to understand this one, class. So, what you see here? Unsay inyo hang makita sa meme, Mr. Mata? Can you please read?
You mean to tell me that photosynthesis and cellular respiration are really just the opposite of one another?
All right. So do you agree with this one? Is this true or false, Mata?
True.
Huh? Trolls?
True, Guru.
True. All right. Yes, this is true because they are directly complementing one another, no? The photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So, kana nga question ni mura siya na amaze, no? How we cannot exist without the plants, how plants cannot exist without animals, no? And that is through the process of energy transformation among those living things. So that is what is our topic for this morning. Now, in this harvesting of energy, we will talk about conversion of energy. So before we go into that, let's have this one first about transformation of energy. What field of science is that one? We are now in bioenergetics and thermodynamics. So I know this will intertwine with a different subject in your STEM, in chemistry and physics, no? So here in biology, it will fall under biochem. All right? So, do you think Racoma energy is important among living things? Racoma?
No, what is the...
Do you think that energy is important among living things and why?
Yes, ma'am.
Why not? Can you say why? Yes, one. Mamino lang sa sound effects ni Rako. Yes, ako ba? Don't be shy. Just give me your insight. Sige na. Sige na. People can help. People can help. Okay, nag-hear ako na. Anyone? Okay? Yes, Rakoma, it's okay. Na lang. I will call you next time, okay? Okay, Clinic, why do you think energy is important? Anyone? Raise your hand. Matug sa kuha ni ha? Okay, pukawa lang ko ninyo kung nana mo yung answer. Why do you think energy is important? A very simple question for STEM students. May I'll challenge you.
No.
Yes. Very good. Okay.
Because it is a basic need for human beings in their daily lives.
Basic, no? Basic need. Oh, very strong words. Basic needs in a sense that we cannot do our work. Even standing up, even breathing, we cannot do without energy, right? Do you agree? Diba? Kaya kung mahilantan tawatay energy. So when we say bioenergetic class, this is the study of how we transform the energy, no, among living organisms, in plants, in animals, no? And when we say thermodynamics, is the flow of energy from the universe and here on Earth, among living organisms here on Earth. Is this important? Yes. Why? Because photosynthesis deals with sun. And this is also equally important to learn about. Let us first know the law of transformation. First law, pasabot ana, no energy can be converted from one another. Energy can be converted only, but we cannot have the capacity to make, to create, or destroy. Okay? So kinsa man ang maka-create og energy diha, gamhanan na gyud ka, no? Super Saiyan na gyud ka, si San Goku na gyud ka. Always remember that. Now this is a very very important prior knowledge you have to know. Okay? Second law, energy cannot be converted without the loss of usable energy. Meaning, naagyod na'y magasto, naagyod ma-spend nga energy in a process of transformation. Remember this too, all right? Now, what is the ultimate source of our energy here, Flores? Here on Earth, what is the ultimate source of energy?
Sun, ma'am.
Sun, right? See, the ultimate source is the sun. But knowing the sun, is this a friendly sun or a monster ball of fire ang sun? Let's go back to your earth science. Brief review. Is it a friendly sun? My kids say it's a friendly sun. But in science class, is it really a friendly sun? Based on knowledge. Or a monster ball of fire. Monster ball of fire, right? Why? Can we, how does Earth, what is the mechanism of Earth? Nga naman nga, what are the shields, no, of Earth that made the Earth livable against the monster ball of sun? Because yeah, we know this, but the sun itself is not controlling what is it emitting. Once again, gi-emit ni, first and foremost, once again, gi-emit nga rays ni sun. There are so many rays, but the very harmful one is the
Ultraviolet rays, ma'am.
ultraviolet rays. Mo man ni akong physicist si kabugwas diri. Ay, kabugwas ra akong answer diri. Ang mo answer, yes. Ultraviolet rays. Unsa may shield ni Earth para ma-buffer si UV rays? Earth science, earth science, earth science.
Atmosphere, ma'am.
Atmosphere, ozone layer. Very good, ladies, no? Because without the ozone layer, we all have skin cancer because of the UV rays. Next, sun is emitting heat, right? If there is no shield against that, we all be burned also. We will all die of dehydration kaya magsigit ang paningot. We will die of heat stroke. What is the shield, magabilin, of sun against heat?
Huh? Huh?
Ay, nakalimot si abi na kung may answer si magabilin sa question. Iharing mama yung answer. Anyway, sige. Who can answer what is the shield of the earth against heat? Sun's heat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyone? Aurora Borealis.
Ozone layer, ma'am.
Ha? Yes,
Ozone
magabilin?
layer.
We're done with ozone layer. That is actually for UV. But when the heat of the sun. Aurora Borealis. What is Aurora Borealis?
Stratosphere,
Ha?
stratosphere.
Not really, no? Si Aurora Borealis, kabantay mo na siya sa north o sa south tra, and then makita mo na ang figure ni diagram ni Earth nga ana-ana siya and then ana. Diba? Nga naman, unsa may iyahang gi-try o repel ni Aurora Borealis? Wala mo sa Earth Science ani class? Kita teacher ninyo Earth Science. Shield of the Earth ba to make it a livable planet Earth?
Electromagnetic field, ma'am.
Electromagnetic field, no? If you can notice, thanks to electromagnetic field coming from the core of the Earth, it is repelling the heat of the sun, right? And we can see that through Aurora Borealis. Because of that, it's not 100 degrees Celsius here on Earth. If we go to Mars, if we go to One, we don't have that. And thanks to the core of the Earth, the iron churning in the core of the Earth. That is very basic class. No, remember that. So, dili ta mapaig, dili ta mamatay sa kainit, no? Because of that, we are in the Goldilocks zone. How important is Goldilocks zone? Goldilocks zone. Anyone? Have you heard of that word? Earth is in Goldilocks zone. Only planet Earth. student. Unsay Goldilocks?
Habitable zone, ma'am.
Habitable zone. Nganong habitable zone? Kay?
We're the only planet that has oxygen, ma'am.
Yes, but relating to habitable zone, we have that oxygen because of the photosynthesis. We have the ozone layer through time, no, nakahimo taog oxygen layer. But class, remember, Goldilocks zone is the habitable zone in planet Earth because that is the only planet that can make the water into 3 phases. Diba naatay ang atong tubig, liquid, ice, water vapor. And the closed system of the water cycle is possible because of that. If mo ato taog other planet class, it's either ice, it's either evaporated, wala jud because of very heat, no? So, remember that one. Diba? Imagine kung puros ice ang atong tubig. Imagine kung puros water vapor. Imagine kung puros liquid. Alright? Okay. Basic na ha? Basic knowledge na. Ngayon mas kuan. Alright, let's move forward. So you can see here, trophic level, feeding no of animals among. So nganong we are going to trace this back no into a basic biology because we have to understand that the process of food chain and food web. Anyone of you can determine the difference of food chain and food web? Basic biology in high school? Food chain, food web? Castañares? Unsay kani nga diagram sa screen? Is this food chain or food web?
Food chain, ma'am.
Food chain. Okay, food chain is a simple no predator prey. And then so you can see here we have producers that is producing the food and then being consumed by primary consumers, the herbivores, the grass-fed animals, and there is another predator, diba? So secondary consumers na siya. And then there will be decomposers. So this is like a very simple predator-prey, decomposers relationship. But when we say food web class, it's an intertwining of food chain. So it's a bigger picture na, different interaction of food chain coming together in an ecosystem. Clear? So why does that matter? Because we have to understand the flow of nutrients among in our here on earth. So always remember how important the plant is because they are the one producing the food. Nganong man ato ning sabton? Because in a process of this food chain, there will be a returning of nutrients back to earth, no? Thanks to the decomposers. In the process of decomposing, there will be carbon cycle, there will be nutrient cycle, nitrogen cycle. So the different going back, no, give back to the one. So that is why the soil is very important. Ang content niya ng organic matter, especially in the farming, no? Next, when we say energy and the cell, so makita ninyo from the sunlight, no, taking in by the autotrophs and then the autotrophs is being eaten by heterotrophs. So, sunlight being the non-usable man tong form, no? Itong mga gi-emit nga photons ni sunlight. So, ang autotrophs or we call that plants ra ang naay capacity to absorb that. And that is the primary first step in the cycling of harnessing the energy. And then from the plants, no, they are being eaten by the heterotrophs, the animals, right? So naanay second step of harnessing the energy. So you can see in the diagram the predator prey. So unsay pasabot ana? Remember, if you are asked, no, who are the producers in the food chain, you should answer autotrophs. Don't give me producers because we are in higher biology na. Because auto means self. They have the capacity to make their own food, no? Examples, the plants. But when you say who are the consumers, we call that heterotrophs. Don't give me answer consumers. No, heterotrophs we must answer. Why? Because they cannot use the sun's energy to make their own food. So meaning we cannot do the sunbathing and we're full. Mabusog na dayon ta ko mag sunbathing ta. That is not possible within our cells. Right? So, if you're going to look into this pyramid of energy, makita ninyo nga producer is 100%. Those are the plants. So they have the capacity of transforming the sun's energy into 100%. But when the plant is being eaten, how many percentage ra ang mapunta sa primary consumer? Tumakin. Tumakin. Kana bitong tawgo na ako niya dili maningo, pasabot ana no absent, wala na sila naminaw kay di man makanungog nako. No? Pila ka percentage ang na-transfer? Class, hapit na ko masapot, class. I'm so disappointed. Come on. Answer. Pila ka percentage ang ma-transfer from producers to primary consumers?
10%, ma'am.
10, ma'am.
10% ra. Asa mapunta ang 90%? Diba, remember in the law of energy, when you are converting, there will always be spent. This time, ang na-spent is 90%. Imagine, class, okay? Kung ganahan mo mag-dietitian, ganahan mo nga conscious kayo mo sa amount of energy nga makuha ninyo or amount of trace vitamins, trace minerals nga makuha ninyo in your plant. Kabantay mo, ang trend karon sa Europe is farm to table. Why? The moment nga nag-harvest ka og fruit, say for example, harvesting of apple, no? The moment nga giputol nimo ang fruit nga apple from the tree, 40% na nang wagtang, no? Imagine, i-travel pa na mo sa grocery. So, pila na ka days, right? The moment of harvested. So, makana ka ba, knowing this pyramid of energy, katong mga imported nga mga vegetables o mga plants, pilan lang na ang energy nga makuha nimo out of this. So, maybe you have to eat a bucket of kanang cabbage or lettuce just to have to maximize that one. So, that is why grabe ang supplement of vitamins no we need right now. But sa unang panahon, they just bahay kubo concept. No, the bahay kubo concept. They're complete with vegetables out in their house. So harvest then luto. So imagine the amount of energy nga na-consume nimo for that nga freshly picked vegetables and food. And then plus the heating pa and cooking, because that is we have to cook and heat. And that is degradation already of biological molecules. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Okay, because we are talking about the food security and health of food, of the good health that we are eating from the source of the food, no? Now, asa na spend ang remaining? 90% of that is given off into the metabolic activity as heat. All right, Henson, are we cold-blooded or warm-blooded animals?
Warm, ma'am.
We are warm-blooded. How many, pila ang temperature that we are trying to maintain all the time? Body temperature.
Kalimut ko, ma'am.
Hoy! Pagka ninyo, kung mahilantan ka, makabaw ka kano sa
Lagi
mga... Makabaw ka.
36.
36. So,
Sige,
timang
una, ma'am.
Kay karon ha mahadlok ba ita nga uy murag init lagi ko. Yung tanaw nimo sa imong temperature wa ka kahabaw sa normal body temperature. Di ka kahimaw kung naghilanat ba ka or wala. No? Importante. Please take note of that. 36 degrees Celsius is our normal. Muna atong body heat. No, and in that conversion of eating the food and making that into an energy, no, 36 ana gipunta na dito sa atong body heat to maintain that normal. We are not amphibians. Nga amphibians can go lower than 36 degrees Celsius. Mag-hibernate ra sila gani dito and then they're okay and they'll just wake up after the winter. And we're not like that. How I wish we are like that, no? But we're not, no? Because we are special animals, right? Agree? So, mao na nga kita, gastador kayo tawag energy. Muna nga kita sa dapat mangita tagpaagi how we can sustain in supplying our energy. Right? Now, when you say here, on sa inyo nakita, how do organisms obtain energy? Okay? So, Kumar, how do organisms obtain energy? What is this first word na makita nimo sa screen? Wasay tubag.
Ay, sorry ma'am,
Ow.
nag-notes ko ma'am. Metabolism ma'am.
Okay, metabolism. Diba? Metabolism. Metabolism. Remember, si Kumar slim pa kaayo karon, maybe ang ihang metabolism rate is very high. So wala pa siya ni gain, no? Kabantay mo ay tambukon si Kuan. So meaning ang ilahang metabolism rate maybe is a bit slow kay kaliwat nila. Diba? That is a factor class in your body build also. Genetic man sad na ang metabolism rate. So this is, when we say metabolism, overuse kayo na siya nga word, but we have to deepen our understanding what it really is metabolism. When we say metabolism, conversion na of energy. Remember, I was talking about the circadian rhythm, and it's so important that before you sleep, you must have the last intake of food 3 hours before you sleep. Muna yung pinakalas. Why? Because it will affect your metabolism rate. Dili na ingon nga, before ka matulog, mukhaon sa kag ice cream or mukhaon sa kag chips, din tulog na dayon ko. Because your system will not have an efficient because you're sleeping but your body is awake because it is still converting the food that you're eating. So that is why you have to have at least 3 hours before you sleep so that you can have an efficient metabolism rate. Munang makabantay mo, mudag ko ang mga tao that is very stationary lifestyle because late in the night, they keep on eating, they keep on drinking Coke, and then matulog na. So they have the tendency to really gain weight, and the water retention of their body will really do that. Why? Because the cellular respiration will never stop. Once the amount of food is there, it will surely convert that into cellular energy. So for the photosynthesis, that is the conversion, harnessing from the sun, photons from the sun, and use that photons to make the glucose, no? Always remember, okay, the cellular respiration is not just for the glucose, it's also for the protein, it's also for the nucleic acid, it's also for the lipids, all the biological molecules. That is in your organic chemistry. Next. Tanawa class, ang diagram is here, okay? Because what I'm trying to let you understand here as an overview of our topic is that how photosynthesis is directly related to cellular respiration. You can see here that in photosynthesis, there are different stages, no? Light-dependent, Calvin cycle. Respiration, there are 3 stages, okay? What I'm trying to say in this diagram is the correlation of the raw material and the product. Here in photosynthesis, it always needs photons, water, and carbon dioxide in the second stage. No? Ilahang raw material, sunlight, water, the CO2 is used in the second stage. And in return, byproduct of oxygen that will be given off in the first stage of photosynthesis. And the kaning sugar, no, as a byproduct will be the food. And then if you're going to look into the cellular respiration, the byproduct of photosynthesis is used, no, in the cellular respiration. So the cellular respiration will be using that glucose. The main product of photosynthesis is the main raw material for cellular respiration for the first stage. And then the oxygen will also be used here in the last stage of ATC. All right? Maybe complicated pa kayo ni, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the raw material for autotrophs. Unsa ganing autotrophs? Unsa din nga metabolism gi-perform sa autotrophs? Cellular respiration or photosynthesis?
Photosynthesis, ma'am.
Photosynthesis. Again, auto, self, trophs, or making their own food. So you can see is that CO2, di ba? Water, light energy. And that will give you a glucose and byproduct of oxygen. So, makita nimo nga na ay reduction equals to endergonic. What do you mean by endergonic? Endergonic is taking in of absorption of energy. Kung sa gi-absorb nga energy dire, kani nga equation. Kung sa gi-absorb na energy dire? Ah?
Light, ma'am.
Light. Okay, that is why endergonic. So makita ninyo byproduct glucose, oxygen. Now let's go to heterotrophs. Unsa to nga metabolism pathway, metabolic pathway i-perform sa heterotrophs? Photosynthesis or cellular respiration?
Cellular
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 respiration.
respiration. So tanawan nimo ang equation ni cellular respiration is kung unsay product ni photosynthesis maoy iyahang raw material. And then ang iyahang product maoy raw material sa photosynthesis. Ang nakalahi is that ang asa nabutang si energy. All right? Because si cellular respiration is exergonic, meaning exit, no? So ni give off siya og energy. Makita nimo sa equation here, unsa nga energy ang gi-give off ni cellular respiration? Is it carbon dioxide, water, or ATP? Ang ATP. Okay? Kay ATP class, mao ni siya ang energy currency nga magamit sa ato ang cell. It has to be converted into that form. Maka-remember mo sa katong talk sa ato ang speaker about kanang immunotherapy sa cancer? He did mention about ATP, right? Because that is the energy nga magsigito padayon ang sa signaling nga mga receptor. So kung naay constant supply of energy, makadu siya og process, no, sa iyahang cellular activity. So mao ni ang form of cellular energy. Again, when we say autotrophs, that is photosynthesis and that is endergonic. When we say heterotrophs, that is cellular respiration and that is gives off energy, exergonic. All right? Again, how is photosynthesis related? The byproduct and product of photosynthesis is the raw material in cellular respiration. The product in cellular respiration is the raw material for photosynthesis. They only differ in a manner of giving off or absorption of energy. Why? Because photosynthesis is endergonic, absorbing energy from the sun. The cellular respiration is exergonic, giving off of energy for the cells. Clear? So that is
Yes, ma'am.
how related they are. Can we live without plants?
No, ma'am.
No,
No, ma'am.
right? Because of this. Can the plants live without animals? No, sad. Actually, kaya nga naman, CO2 emission is from animals actually, and they need that material. Okay? They need also the CO2. Kanang atong exhaling, kana ato ang mangutot ka, no? Kanang emission from the factory industrialization is actually CO2. That is why if you are in a city that is highly industrialized, how do you buffer air pollution? Okay, how do you buffer air pollution?
Plants, ma'am.
Yes, you have to plant more trees, at least in your periphery of your plant, because kay bao ba mo class nga one tree, no? One tree can absorb tons of CO2. Okay? Pila gud to equivalent of tons? Nakalimot na ko. Basta, there is a value how many tons of CO2 one tree can absorb. And with that, by knowing that, awaha, if you have kanang land, no, and then you use that for farming. Farming, buried land, wide land, plantation, no, sa asa ng katubuhan ba na. It is highly recommended that you should plant trees in the periphery lang. Okay? Maskin periphery lang. Meaning sa kilid, no, make that as your, kay kung puhon ka mo mga negosyante mo puhon, you will be into farming. Please, don't forget your understanding about the photosynthesis and cellular respiration nga topic. Because if only all the government officials, if only all the leaders of the country will anchor the project to this concept of cellular respiration in photosynthesis, then we will have a balanced place siguro, no? Okay? Okay. Kinsa may niadto sa Singapore. Grabe ang Singapore when it comes to planning, urban planning of their city, having trees, no? We've been living in Singapore for 6 years man may nagpuyo dito. No, and I highly admire no how they plan their city, no, in with the trees, no? Because they know the important mo nang kita atong i-review ato ang mga politician. So si Isko ato ingnon, sir, do you know the importance of relationship of photosynthesis and kuan kan cellular respiration? Si Lini Robredo, i-question na nato ilaha during sa kuan bi para i-inline nila ilang mga project ani nindot kaayo ang atong environment. Na? Do you agree? Kung naa sila ani nga biology concept, kung solid ilang foundation ani, no? Kanindot unta. So inyohan ang role in the future ha kung kuan na mo, magpolitisyan na mo puhon. All right. So, asa man na mahitabo ang cellular respiration o photosynthesis? Mubalik ta sa atong learning sa cell organelles, no? Sa cell organelles. So, ang plants class, they both have chloroplast and mitochondrion. Animal cells, we only have mitochondria. So, when I ask you, how come mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell? What are you going to answer? Because powerhouse of the cell? No, that's not enough. No, because we are in STEM already. Higher learning na mo dapat. No? So you should say answer nga, yes, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the energy because that is the site where conversion of energy happens. Conversion of ATP. No? Okay, I will give you an example. We have a muscle cells. We have different organs. Why do you think muscles has plenty of mitochondria compared to your lungs? Anyone? Why do you think our muscles has more mitochondria compared to your liver, compared to your lungs, compared to your heart has plenty of mitochondria? Okay, sige, si heart, daghang mitochondria. O gabang, nga naman? Why do you think?
Kuan ma'am kay gamit man grabe nga energy ang mga muscles ma'am lang. So kailangan to sila daghang mitochondria para mo-supply sa ATP.
Pero ang ato ang organs daghan man sa diba? Nganong mas daghan man gyud dinha? Di day magamit ang ubang organs og ATP.
Kay mas grabe mag-work ang mga muscles mo.
Very good. Dili sa ingon nga gi-underestimate nato ang ubang organs ha. Pasabot ana nga brain grabe mitochondria, no? Atong neurons has plenty of mitochondria. Our muscles has plenty of mitochondria. Why? Contraction sa muscles is very important. Decision making sa neurotransmitter, transportation, they need that energy class. So kung wala kay kaon, maka-remember mo maglipong-lipong ka. Okay, kisa mga way mga pamahaw, makuyapan, no? Maglipong-lipong, nga naman. First and foremost, kasi pinakakusog og demand sa ATP ang ato ang brain cells. Ha? Timanin na ninyo. So kung wala mo kaon, kung naglipong-lipong na mo, kaon judayon mo. Kay kahibaw mo, nakuwangan na mo ATP. Ang imong brain cells, nagkinahanglan og ATP. So before exam, you should have a good meal para makahuna-huna memory recall. Gets? No, application, right? So dili mo mo take og exam kung gigutom. Dili na ingon nga walay sulod ang tiyan. Dili maka-answer because again deeper learning kay ang imo dili na ingon ang tiyan ang nangayo og food but ang imuhang brain cells. Do you agree? Okay. Now, kani cellular respiration, plant cell, animal cell. Makita nimo si plant cell, wow, very good. They both have those, they both have the chloroplast and mitochondria. Animal cell, they only have mitochondria. So if you're going to look, here, diffusion of those gases happen in our alveoli, no, and capillaries. And that is through a process of osmosis or diffusion? Balaod.
Diffusion, ma'am.
Diffusion. No, remember that. Diffusion of gases, small molecules. And in our plants, we always have this middle part sa leaf. If we do a dissection na nasa mesophyll area. And how I wish we have this also in our laboratory, no? Kay nindot kay tan-awon ang mga chloroplast under a microscope. Anang a real good, no? Nindot kay ni sila tan-aw. And then, so mao to siya ang ako ang topic, no? Nga kuan, cellular respiration of photosynthesis. So, do you understand or do you have a question? How connected they are, the metabolic pathway of photosynthesis and cellular respiration? Any clarification or any real life example that you want to clarify or misconception? All right. Magnetic field, then answer the sa chat box si Ugaba. Class, nakasabot mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So I hope ha inyo hanang so karon class mag checking of understanding ta, no? Sa atuang na answer, no? Sa atuang discussion. So there are essay questions that I want you to answer. I will put here in the chat box. All right? So answer these essay questions as our understanding for today's session. All right. So you can see now in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so again, I will be finalizing your scores, no, of chapter test. So expect a feedback of your scores. And if na ay mga corrections, no, tell me, no, para ma-change na to if ever na ay changes sa scores, na ano na ko ba, malibat ko inig-check bitaw, pwede rin gid na ninyo i-clarify sa ako. Alright? So your submission will also be as your attendance. So di na lang ko mag-check og attendance one by one because I will base it sa responses for this seat work. So as early as now, today have familiarized the equation of photosynthesis and cellular respiration because that is very important. Very important. Perez, do you have a question? You're raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. For
Hmm.
the last two questions here, do we have to use the units or we could just use the words instead?
You have the chemical equation.
So
So
that's in the
not the
units.
words.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mag-get used to na lang tani ha, because this is very muna na itong language actually as we move forward, photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Okay, right now among the responses, I received Sarmago, and then Tan, Raymond, so ang katong dili maka-answer ani ha kasabot absent. Is Boscato here? Si Tumakin. Class, na-answer pa na ako katong nangutana sa grades. Naapa ko yung usahay ha kay magtabunan ang kuan chat. Wait ha, brago pa ko katong nangay sa grades. Anyway, clinic, no, we're done with the deliberation of the honors and conduct awardees. So you can ask your advisor for the list, no, who was able to include, no, in the honor rule. And very good. Daghan kaayong conduct awardee ang clinic. Yeah. And then the honor, I'm not sure kung pila to ang final count. But daghang nakasul, no? And it's good. It's good. I hope continue ninyo class ha, continue ninyo for the entire school year. Quiet sa. So right now, just in for the responses. Magabilin Bukaw, Balaod, Tan Sarmago. Montesilio, just in. Because when you try to explain ba, kana sang masabtan ang manner of your sentence, ha? Okay, tanawa ra gud ni sila mag-answer a question. Say for example, very basic writing skills, no? When you make a sentence, the first letter of the sentence is a capital letter, right? Nga lang, hasta magiging kong sentence, small letter ang beginning of the sentence. Class, you have research na. You cannot have research if you write this way. Hasta ang beginning of the sentence, small letter. Saan taman eh? And the way you process your thought, organize your thought, then put into writing. No? Kana bitang pang grade 12 na sad gyud ang ato ang inistoryahan. Dili ta burag na grade 6. Nga mo answer? Do not be a mediocre lagi class. Always kanang try your best. Maskin essay ni siya ba kanang comprehensive bitaw ang inyong answer. Kay maanad gyud mo gingon ani ra gyud nga output gyud, ambot lang gyud. Medyo ni kapasan ako ang sinuwatanan eh. No, you are grade 12. Answer like a grade 12 student. Na-STEM pa gyud mo, no? Oh, so how does energy flow in the living organism? How man? Okay? Kanang dili lang nga putol-putol English. Uy, practice na your writing skills. Communication skills is very important wherever you go. Your English skills wherever you go is very important. Kabaw no, hatag kog heads up ha. If maskin anha mo sa call center agent or maskin ayaw mo pag call center, dili sa nga wala nag unsa kog call center. No. Even in online jobs, you do reporting, you do ikuan, you need to email reports. If your writing skills and communication skills is not solid, dili na masabtan inyong report nga gihatag sa inyong immediate head. That is why we have core subject for English. Applications letter, resume, very important. Business letters. No? Unang practice ang essay. Sige, dyan kong pahinumdum ninyo, ani. Kailaw, is finished. Bebera Kabugwas, Ugabang Kumar, Castañares, Elcana Racoma, Mata, Llanos, Ko, Perez Montesilio, Magabilin Bukaw, Balaod, Tan, Sarmago. Okay, good. So, for those who are not yet done, please continue submit. No? It's already 12:02. I hope everyone had a productive session with me. And I hope that kanang whatever you have learned ba, please don't forget everything. Especially katong basic nga akong gi-review ninyo yung githrow nga questions class about kanang earth sun, no? Basic kaayo to. And then by this time, kabaw na taan to, no? Kay naabot mo ta grade 12, no? Ayan ninyo kalinte whatever you learn every day. Para dili ta dali mailad og fake news. Dita pa ta kay share kay nakabaw man ta sa atong solid foundation of knowledge. Do you agree? All right. So let us have our closing prayer. I'd like to call Magabilin. Pagbilin of prayer, Magabilin.
Yes.
Okay.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Bless us, O Lord, in this thy gift, which we are about to receive from thy bounty, through Christ our Lord.